Well, I think it's time for a 3 monthly review. I've been here for over 3 months now, so it gives me a bit of time to reflect on how the move has been from Parramatta Park in a top floor flat to a house near the beach, about a 10-minute walk from the beach, in a close which has very little through traffic. It's only about, I think there's about 10 houses in this particular section. We could actually make it a gated community, I guess, because there's actually, it comes off the crescent, off Bondi Crescent. So in theory, you could actually put a gate in there and make it into a secure area if you wanted to. I don't know if any of the residents want to do that. I think the only thing you'd do is you'd put maybe CCTV cameras, so anybody coming in and out of our part of the suburb then would at least, there'd always be a record. That's all you'd really get from it, because you're not going to pay for someone to be on a gate. That's something they do in Asia because they can afford to, but here the wages are pretty high and it's just not viable. Look, just talking about, I don't want to go over the same topics too much, but unfortunately I can't avoid them. I hope I'll give a slightly different angle to them, seeing I've spent this much time here and have pretty well settled in. It's always traumatic when you're first moving into a new place, so there's always going to be teething problems. I think I'm pretty well over all of those. I've got everything sorted out with council, with renovations, with basically the need to be done things. There was things I didn't expect, and those major issues have been redressed. The major projects that I wanted to get out of the way have been finished now, although probably the one that I still need to address is drainage prior to the wet season, which will occur in December. But weather being weather, you never know when the wet will hit, if at all. Sometimes there have been dry summers up here, so you just don't know. But I know that both sides of my house get drenched with rain, so I need to do something with it. The tree lopper, I've used Marcus. He has all this earth moving equipment, and he thinks that by basically just changing the slope might be able to get it to naturally drain, so that might be a possibility. He's certainly got earth moving equipment, which is handy to know, and he charges $100 an hour to move earth, which I suppose isn't bad considering you're getting the actual equipment with his labour thrown in. So these days I'd say that's quite reasonable. Anyway, look, the first thing I mentioned previously was quieter environment, and that was patently obvious because I had industrial bins and noisy neighbours and the creche all surrounding me. And it is chalk and cheese. I've got to say, it's been 3 months, and I'm happy to report that the environment here is heaven compared to there. It is so damn noisy in Parramatta Park. If you can handle that sort of thing, go for it. But I'd say if you're someone like me, being a grumpy old fart, you want a bit of quiet. And the only noise I want is natural noise, and I get plenty of that. It looks like the curlews are in plague proportions up here, because that's the bird sound I hear the most. Although it's not like it disturbs my sleep at all. My sleep has been so much better up here. You just don't get those disturbances. It's a pretty quiet place to be. So I'm very happy with that aspect of it. And of course, as I said, I could now see the stars. Well, that hasn't changed, obviously. So it's still pretty good, except I've got the binoculars now, so I can get an even better view. But yeah, it is nice to know you can look up into the sky on a clear night, and there's no problem checking out at least hundreds, maybe thousands of stars. Amazing. And the space is fantastic. That's obviously another thing that hasn't changed. And I'm appreciating the fact that I do have room to move, and I've got grand designs on the garden. I'm a little frustrated because I want to get things moving. Had a bit of a glitch with Airtasker. Not so much the problem with the guy who offered to do the work. I may still actually get him to pop round, because It was more about the payment situation. I finally worked out with their tasker to be able to get first off, they gave me a credit, which I didn't really want. I wanted the money going back into my bank account. And you have to contact them again to get that happening. So they make it hard for you to actually get the money back into your account. But I feel a lot better because I didn't want to be paying money up front to someone I hadn't used before for materials. And I still had the $500 in the tasker account as well. So I felt like, it felt like money was going out everywhere. So I feel a lot happier when that 500's back in my credit card, and I can work things out as I normally do with tradies, which is basically we agree to a price on a job, and I pay them for materials and labour as soon as they want. I'm very good that way. I feel a responsibility to do the right thing by them, and I do. The neighbours are great. Yeah, like when it comes back to the noise here, the noise is not an issue. The neighbours seem to be quite nice. Although I haven't spoken to anybody. I haven't really even spoken to Jane for a while. I mean, I got rid of that dead tree. That was a real bugbear. And Marcus, who she chatted to and got involved, he's the guy who's got the earth moving equipment. He came in and fixed it. There was a downside. The electric shutter door, for car access, that's they stuffed that up and had to repair it. And whether or not it's working as well as it used to, time will tell. But he did come back and repair it to the best of his knowledge. But I'm worried that it might require more, because unfortunately it doesn't go right up. The roller door doesn't go right to the top, so you don't get enough access for people like the people that come from Northside Raw Materials who want to dump earth. It's not big enough for their truck, and it wasn't big enough for Marcus's cherry picker to get through. So that's why I had to move things. And you can grow your own veggies. That's a big deal, but I've got a lot to learn about growing vegetables, especially my spinach. Some of the spinach is doing fine in the smaller pots. The ones that were doing really well, they got attacked by insects. I did use the pyrethrum spray on them, and it does seem to have improved things, but they're still nowhere near what the vibrancy they had before. And I have a horrible feeling that I've actually planted too late. Someone who watches my site said that, and it could well be the case that because I only had access to the place in June, it was just too late. You probably have to get your seed planting done a month or two earlier than that. But then again, I'm getting a tropical variety. I've got tropical varieties of spinach, which I'll try growing in the hotter part of the year and see how we go with that. Might work a bit better. But I have run out of potting mix, and that's another problem with not having a car. I've got to get a crap load of potting mix. Get the 50-litre packs of the Osmocote, the really good stuff. So I'll have to get that organised. Whether I'll get someone to deliver it for me. It costs $40 to have Bunnings deliver it, but it's cheaper for me to get a taxi or an Uber or a taxi and just shove them in the boot of the car, or and drive back myself, because that'll only be about $24 maybe even less. Anyway, some of the veggies are going okay. Let me get the tomatoes seem to be doing all right, and funnily enough, the other one, the capsicums seem to be doing okay. So it's not a total disaster. The peas were doing okay, and they've gone off. I don't know what's happened to the peas. One of them's looking particularly sick. Another one's okay, has recovered a little bit. But yeah, I'm having trouble with them. They were going gangbusters, and for some reason they've stopped. But anyway, don't miss the body corporate. That's a no-brainer. I do occasionally walk to the beach, but typical of this situation, people buy places near the beach, and then they settle in and they take it for granted and never go there. I'm trying to get down there once a week at the very least. And I haven't swum there yet. I haven't got off my arse to go and have a dip either. So that's pathetic. The fresh air, I think the air is better here. There's no doubt about it. I was right near Mulgrave Road where I was. There's no noise or or air pollution as such. It's a pretty clean environment here. So that's good. The walk to the shops, yeah, that's pretty good. Although now it's not a walk to the shops half the time, or more than half the time. It's a bike ride, and it's only about a 5-minute bike ride to get to Liquorland. Unless I get, I don't do any other shopping there as such, because the IGA is expensive. And if I'm going to shop now, what I do is I go right up to Clifton Beach Shopping Centre, which is a really nice shopping centre. It's probably the nicest one I've come across in Cairns. It's quite an upmarket area. Unfortunately, the GP there is bulk billed, so that's not a good thing. I can't use them. But if there's an emergency, at least I get up there. It takes about a quarter of an hour to ride the bike up there, so it's a decent ride. It'll be even better when they get the deep estate linking road between Clifton Beach and Kewarra Beach. Then you can be able to ride inside the suburb without having to go along the Cook Highway, and that'll be a big bonus. And they're making progress on that. They are definitely working hard to get that constructed. So it may not take that much time. So that's probably going to be good for property values here too, because it'll basically make Kewarra more connected to Clifton Beach, which is more upmarket. The prices of houses for like a four-bedroom house like I've got is about 100,000 more, the average price. That's how much more expensive it is. And then you go to Palm Cove, it's more expensive again. So, but being connected to it, I think will be good for this suburb. I think it'll probably help. I still have no regrets buying the place I did. I had a look at a place I was interested in Clifton Beach, but I never got to see. But it wasn't in a good part of Clifton Beach, so I'm in a good part of Kewarra. It would be nice to be slightly further north, especially close to that big shopping centre. But look, it's okay. It's got pluses and minuses, but I'm still happy with the choice I made. And the real estate agent who sold my flat popped round the other day, Darcy, and he thought I'd made a $50,000 gain in my equity, because the prices have gone up since. He thought my place was quite good, and I could get a lot more money than I paid for it. So that's always nice to hear. Supermarket delivery still going well. Yeah, still doing it, although I can only justify doing it every second week for me. But it's a great service, and it does save me carrying a lot of heavy stuff. And it's a reliable service, and I've got no complaints. I think it's brilliant. The same can be said for Kmart. Kmart deliveries, initially they delivered to the post office rather than my place, but since then, all the deliveries I'm making, all the stuff I'm buying online, whether it's from Kmart or just through eBay, has been delivered to my door, which is fantastic. So that is something I never got at Parramatta Park. You can't get at a flat because you've got a gate in the front. They would never do. Once in a blue moon, they might deliver something to your door, but it was so rare it's not worth mentioning. But in a house, you get deliveries all the time. It's a hidden bonus. Bus drivers are still pretty good. Most of them won't do the drop me off right at the door, but right where my street is. But that's okay. They're not supposed to anyway. And the bike riding is healthy, and it's worked out really well. And a $160 bike is a bargain. And I use all of the 6 gears. It's good exercise. It's a fantastic part of the world to bike ride in. I'm really happy. So that's good. The other thing, of course, I'm doing, because I'm in my own place, I'm doing new things. And one of the new things I'm doing is home brewing. And I've finally done the brew. You've seen the video. It was successful. It wasn't handstand worthy, but the beers are drinkable. And I'm just going to continue changing the formula, doing dark beers and onward and upward. Hopefully, we'll see how we go. But it's a work in progress. But that's fine. And Smithfield Dan Murphy's is very convenient because I got cheap gin again the other day. So that's much easier than having to go all the way to Earlville, because Earlville is not where I shop. I shopped. I shopped at Cairns Central, so it's the opposite direction. But now I go to Smithfield where I do all my shopping anyway. So it's killing two birds with one stone. The other thing that's happened since I moved in here, this was always my long-term plan, was to sell a few shares. I made profits on a few shares, but I didn't get as much as I should have. I should have waited. So I've actually diddled myself out of quite a few $1,000s of potential profits, but you know, that's just the way it is, unfortunately. But what I have done is I've worked my mortgage way down. I started off with $85,000 and now it's only a fraction of that. So what it means is I had to pay $160 a fortnight, which is a piddling amount, I know, for a mortgage, but you know, I have got limited income, so it does affect me, although not having a car makes it a lot easier for me to live. It's a bit of a pain here because you do need a car to some degree, but it does save me money, so you know, I'm not going to gift horse in the mouth. But anyway, the minimum required was $160, but what I've done is I've actually reduced the mortgage to such a degree that now the minimum amount required fortnightly is $49. I'm paying $100, so I'm actually working off the mortgage. It's a 30-year mortgage, and now I'm paying it so it'll be paid off in 10 years. So I'm way ahead, and I figure $50 a week is bugger all to pay for a mortgage. So I'm prepared to wear that. I could reduce if I wanted to, but I don't feel any need to at this stage. But I'm in a much more comfortable position because I've sold so many shares that. And I figure now I can redraw this money if for whatever reason I need cash, I can do that. So having a mortgage is great. It means in effect that this money that I paid off the mortgage is in effect my cash, a potential cash I could get hold of, but because it's off the mortgage, in effect I'm earning around 2.7% on it, which you just can't get for cash these days. So it's worked out really well. The other challenge was flat packs. I worked out I can put together a few things. In the past, the only thing I've actually put together were these sorts of chairs. The one on the swivel type chair with the gas levers so you can raise or lower the chair, the office chair. I've put those together in the past, but I've never done anything like that garden cart. So I was quite proud to get that done. I also built a couple of things I bought at Kmart, put them together. So that was something new because I moved here. So that's basically lots of positives. There are negatives, of course, and I'll go through those now. Hidden expenses, which I mentioned last time, was tree lopping. And that has only grown. I can give you an update on how much I've spent on tree lopping. At that stage, it was $1,350 I'd spent on getting rid of a big rubber tree and one of my Cuban royal palm trees in the front. Since then, I had to get rid of the dead tree. The dead tree cost me $450, and I got rid of the other Cuban royal palm tree, and that was $500. And now the thing is, the reason I did that was simply because it was just so messy. It was dropping so much crap. It was also dangerous because the seed pods were very heavy, and if they hit you on the head, you'd be a goner. So it seemed obvious that I need to do something about that. I'm going to plant fruit trees, which will produce something I actually can eat and provide shade as well. I love palm trees. There's nothing wrong with palm trees, but I prefer them to be in a beach, or if you've got a country property and you've got a few acres to spare and you can actually grow them there. Yeah, they look fine, but I don't want them in this house block. So that's just me. The other downside of moving in here, of course, was the electricity bill went crazy. What the worst bill was $139 for 1 month. Now, my bills were normally between $50 and $60, so that was a huge hike. But I discovered after going to the Ombudsman, which in turn got Ergon Energy off their backsides, and they rang me and had a chat about it. They looked it up and found that yes, Once I'd actually stopped that leak in the bath, the daily usage of electricity had tumbled, and I'm back to normal now. I'm paying about 58 actually, so the bills are quite reasonable now. So I've got no problems there. So that was sorted out. Still got drainage to look at. That's one job that I haven't done, because what I have done is I've had the interior of the place painted, have had the cracks repaired and painted over. I've had insulation put in the roof and new lighting, all LED lighting. So all those jobs have been completed, plus getting rid of those trees in the garden. So that's all been completed, so that's good. Now drainage is something I've got to look at, because, and Marcus may be able to help me with that, or I might need to talk to that guy that I spoke to in Air Tasker, because he's a landscaper. So we'll see how we go on that one. Still got to pay house insurance. Well, it can't be avoided. I don't have body corporate, but I've got house insurance. It is a bit isolated here compared to Parramatta Park, there's no doubt about it, but I figure the lifestyle is so much better. I'm prepared to cop that, and I can work on getting some social connections happening, and that's up to me to do. So the Trinity Tavern is there as my local pub, but I have not been there once by myself. It's a family type pub, a big sort of family type pub. It's got a nice view. I was there with Lynn a couple of weeks ago when she came over with her son and mother, and that's the only times I've actually been there is being with Lynn. I just haven't bothered to go by myself like a local pub. PJ's was more of a place where you could just sort of go by yourself, have a Guinness and get a discount. So that was nice. I can still go down to PJ's, it's just that I have to go all the way to Cairns, and I'm trying to avoid getting on the bus too often. I prefer not to. I can't use the local GP, but I'm thinking about emailing him and just telling him all my medical circumstances and seeing whether they might change the situation there. Especially seeing I can't register at Clifton Beach either. It's a pretty crazy situation that you can't get into your own local GP, something I never expected. And of course the Clifton Beach GP doesn't have bulk billing, so they're not an option, unfortunately. Dogs are all around here. They bark like hell, but they don't do it during the night. It's only happened once that they've been making noises during the night. It's disturbing them asleep. So in 3 months, I think that's pretty damn good. So that would be my main beef with them. But no, they're okay. They're not like they're rabid or anything. They're in their places. It's just that there's one that barks every time I try to do a video at the bus stop. It's just now the dog's barking all the time. Lawnmowers, you hear them all the time, and yeah, it's a bit of a pain, but compared to the noise I had to put up with the guy who was doing the maintenance on Parramatta Park's nothing, so that's good. Major hassle with lawnmowers, my own lawnmower. I finally discovered there's a primer pump there, and I didn't have to basically break my arm trying to pull the cord to get the spark plug to go. So that's been sorted out, thank God. Smithfield Shopping Centre, yeah, not as good as Cairns Central. It's good in certain ways. It's got a nice sort of homey feel, but the way it's laid out is lousy. It's terrible design. It's so elongated. If you went all the way from the reject shop right up to where Dan Murphy's is, it's quite a hike. It's just ridiculous. It's probably a quarter of a kilometre or something. It's just it needs to be multi-level and more compact. That's how they should build it. They really need to look at a redesign for it and to revamp the whole Smithfield Shopping Centre, in my opinion. It's well overdue for an overhaul. And the other thing would be, it'd be nice if we had some pedestrian overpasses along the roads, especially there, but also Kewarra Beach. I might get onto my state MP, because I think it's in their jurisdiction, so to get something done about that. Yeah, Bunnings is a pain here because it's on the wrong side of the Cook Highway, so you have to basically dodge all the traffic. It may not be as good as bad, the traffic, when they get the bypass completed, which is, they're making good progress on that. It shouldn't be too long before it's open. Got to get my back fence done because the neighbour behind me, she decided to get rid of all the foliage, so now there's no privacy for me. So that's a pain, and I've got to get that sorted too. It's the drainage and the back fence has got to be done. So, yeah, it's a long bus ride to Smithfield too. I didn't realise that if I'd been in Clifton Beach, it would have been a more direct ride and just down the Cook Highway. But here, you have to go all the way through Trinity Beach. It's like a half-hour ride. It would be a lot better if they included the Kewarra Beach with Clifton and Palm Cove. So there you could basically get the bus going to all three of those beaches. I think would be a better way to do it. So possibly that could be done in the future. Now, regarding social life thing, I have tried to find out about what's happening socially with things like meetups and what have you. And there's one based in the Northern Beaches, but all the meetups they have are in different locations. It's just insane. I would have thought it'd be great to have meetups happening in Kewarra, Clifton and Palm Cove, but there isn't. There's a lot of restaurants up Palm Cove too, apparently, so that would be ideal. I could then ride my push bike to them, which would be great, but unfortunately, no one's organising it. I may have to get off my arse and do it myself, and just, so I was thinking like a group for people who just want to do riding bikes just socially. There are bike riding groups, but they're real sort of gung-ho ones, you know, where you've got to be sports people virtually to ride. I want something where you just ride, so you go to a barbecue, a beach barbecue, or a restaurant or whatever. You meet up as a group and you get a bit of exercise, and you can have a few drinks and eat stuff as well and do it as a social thing. That would be nice. Yeah, I think that's great. That's basically it. Look, I'm very happy here. I've got no regrets with the change of location. It was a good move all round. I'm happy to be in a house. There are responsibilities you have that you don't have with a flat, with body corporate, but the pluses far outweigh the negatives. I'm very happy here. And the only thing that's driving me nuts has got nothing to do with the house. It's the whole COVID thing with restrictions of travel, especially overseas. It really is a downer for me because I really want to go back to Vietnam. Apparently, their timeline is the 15th of January before the place opens up again, and that may be the time that they start allowing international tourists to return. Fingers crossed, but I just found out that today. So that's basically it. I hope you enjoyed this 3-monthly update. Still very happy here. The weather is fantastic this time of year. I may not feel quite as positive after summer. 3 months of baking summer might drain the enthusiasm, but at this stage, very happy here. Got a lot to do, but I don't mind that. That's good. So if you enjoyed this video, please give me thumbs up, thumbs down, comment, and if you could subscribe, I'd really appreciate it. So I hope you enjoyed this. See you next time.